How you guys doing today?
I'm good, man.
How's the vibrations, man?
I'm excited, brothers.
I was just, I was literally taking photos inside, and I just hear like a faint, anything is possible.
Yeah, he's out here busting old clips of championship victory.
No, that was a great clip though.
Oh,
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was an amazing
That
clip.
That was raw and real for him.
For real.
Hype, bro. When I
Yeah.
seen that one, I was yawning too.
Was that their first championship? Like after a minute?
Yeah, and he's been after it, so that was a big one for
Yeah,
him.
that was
Plus,
his
the way
first.
he grew up too.
For sure.
Yeah.
He grew up with a rugged life, had a lot of challenges, a lot of gun violence and gangs.
Right.
He got out and he won.
That's amazing.
Because anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
And nobody talks about it, but he abandoned that interview girl. He just said anything is possible, and he rolled out.
Man, I don't got time for this shit.
No, because he went. Man, this won the championship, man.
Yeah.
I'd roll out too.
Now I'd be on there like, yo, I want to shout out to Uncle Ray J. I would just shout everybody out.
Yeah. It's cool because we're starting with the story of Kevin Garnett. You know what I mean? And winning, and the feeling that came with winning. An abundance feeling. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And that's a perfect segue into our topic today, which will be abundance. It's your host Bikram. We got Drew. We got Jermaine. We're on episode number 10. I don't know how to say that in numerals and shit. X.
X marks the spot. Baby.
X is the spot. X is the spot. There we go, man. It was cool seeing you guys do the podcast beforehand, and just catch notes, observing, something live. Because usually I don't see that,
For sure.
right? And even how Sandra be preparing and Sandra be putting, thought into each question.
She got a binder, bro.
She come prepared, bro. Like she, you know what I mean? Like, it's a perfect mix because bye.
See ya.
It's a perfect mix because I feel like a lot of us is just freestyle, right? But she's so to the point. But you mix both of those together and you have something special.
It's ingredients, man.
Right.
You need different ingredients to make that cake, to make that meal. If you got only one ingredient, then what do you have?
It's gonna be pretty bland.
Exactly. So you want them different feelings.
Yeah.
Say, all right, you know what? You're more prepared. I'm more freestyle.
Yeah.
Let's combine them both.
It's a contrast.
It's a contrast.
Hey, no, it's one hell of a contrast.
It is.
Yeah. This past week, I've been thinking about abundance, and it's a question that came up in my mind a lot because certain people and certain individuals will say, don't share your next move. Don't share it. You know what I mean? Keep it inside and let it, come out, and it's going to come out greater than ever because you can waste your energy. And then I see other individuals that say, screw the fear, man. Screw the fear. I'm not going to be afraid of telling someone my dreams and my aspirations. I'm not going to be afraid of telling them my next move. And I'm going to share the abundance because abundance is my birthright, and it's also the birthright of the people around me. In the last few months, I've experienced me being less of a gatekeeper, right? Before I used to keep information just close to my chest and thinking that there's a lack of almost, that I have to keep this. And it didn't really get me that far, you know what I mean? That way of thinking didn't really get me that far. But I'm seeing an opening in the last few months, beginning of this year, just starting to, share information willingly with anybody, really. If you ask me and I have the answer or I have a tool that you can use, I'm starting to just,
But the thing is, you think about it like this. A lot of times we share information all the time. So that's up to the individual to use that information and apply it.
right.
And if they're going to take the information in and apply it and use it to better their life, then that's something that you did. That's great.
Yeah.
Now you might give them the information. They might not take it and use it.
Yeah.
But you gave it to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's always an opportunity. In life, you wish that you just have an opportunity. You wish you have resources. You wish you have this stuff. And if you use it, then you pass it on to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a beautiful thing when you're willing to share, because that's telling me you're willing to make someone else better
Yeah.
instead of always trying to make yourself look better. That's a great thing. It's beautiful.
See, being the guy that was laying around being lazy, doing nothing, and watching everyone else make moves, and I'm just sitting there playing video games, screwing around. When I got to a place where I'm the one doing it, I definitely got excited to share that because it's like a new thing for me. But then I started realizing, hey, I'm learning some good things here, and if I put it out there, they can learn too. But if I keep it to myself and keep this little secret, and I come out of nowhere and I have all these accomplishments, the number one thing they're going to want to know is, well, how the hell did you get from point A to point B? I want them to see the progress.
For sure.
Because I want them to follow me along the way. Maybe it inspires them to get up and make a move themselves. I don't want to take that from them.
And that's teaching.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a teacher, you're a coach, you're anything, you're a father, you want to share,
Yes.
right? You know if someone's a good teacher or coach or whatever because they're willing. They actually get excited for you to learn. Like, that's what we should be thinking about, just like this podcast. If we weren't willing to share, then we can't create a podcast.
Amen.
Because it's all about sharing your thoughts, sharing your information, and trying to make people better. So as you start doing these things, you become better because now you know how to explain it better. You know how to communicate it better. You know all those things. So sharing is a crucial thing. And if we think about it, think about this when you're younger, when you're going to school, when you're maybe 4 years old. What do they tell you to do? Share. Don't take all the toys.
They encourage it. Yep.
They encourage it. So as we get older, we lose that. Now it's all about taking everything for ourselves. No, share that knowledge because at the end of the day, just because the other person becomes successful or if they become successful, doesn't mean that you're not going to be.
Right.
We all can be successful. We don't have to be individually successful. So some people think that, if they're successful, then I'm not. No, we all can be successful, and that's what we're hoping to be.
Right.
We want everybody to be successful.
And there is an abundance of knowledge out there. So if you have it, you almost have a duty, a responsibility to share it, and at least not keep it to yourself in a selfish manner. And another thing, when you put yourself out there, making these, you're showing your moves as you were saying, you really wouldn't be fearful at all of, for example, what if you fail? No, that's not what it's about. It's about my approach. It's about me being genuine about this. I'm just going to try it, guys. If it doesn't work out, that's okay because it's on to the next one.
And the beautiful thing about that is, too, they see your success and they see your failure.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we look at someone who's successful and think they never fail. They all fail. Everybody's failed. That's why they're at the place that they're at right now. Just the person who's failed has kept going.
Yes.
He's failed once, but it didn't deter him from keep going. So even when you fail, so what? What's that going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Just keep going because you're one step closer to the solution.
So both of you guys would agree that the first approach of not sharing your next move is maybe a thing of the past.
I'll tell you this. I think sharing your next move and not sharing is circumstantial.
Right.
I think some things you want to sit on because how big it is, and let's say it's a huge opportunity, you got to kind of hush because you don't want to jinx yourself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if it's something where someone can learn, if there is an opportunity for someone to gain something from it, I think it should be shared.
For sure.
But yes, we have to know when and when to protect what you got because it really is circumstantial.
Right. No, you make a really good point, Drew. Because a lot of the time now I be sharing and everything's working out. So it's not like it's impeding on our progress. Sometimes
would you say that's out of your character?
It's out of my character.
Now that you're sharing,
It is my character. Yeah, it is my character, I believe.
Okay.
Like I believe this has always been my character. I think fear and other things can creep in there sometimes,
Yes.
and a lack feeling where you act out of character. But I feel like all of our characters are mainly to share.
Yes.
We are each other. Like we were talking about it the last podcast too. But if I treat you in a bad way, I'm technically treating myself in a bad way. If I'm like, the more harsh I am on you, I'm probably that harsh or more on myself. This is like, it's a yin and yang. It's not just one way, right? The three of us believe in limitless potential. I would say so. And that's what kind of got us doing this podcast. If you believe it's a limited world, some people don't even start, And and we're sitting here. We're on, the lake, and just
On the edge of the lake.
edge of the lake. Yeah, and we're doing our 10th podcast, and it's growing and it's going right. What do you think stops people from believing in unlimited abundance feeling? Like, what's stopping them? What's getting in their way?
Do you want to start?
I think what's getting in the way is themselves. That's what they're telling themselves. They're telling themselves the story. But I tell a kid, I met a kid last week, and I said, close your eyes, dream of something that you want to do, and dream of something so big that even that it will come true. Believe that. So don't limit your dream. So close your eyes. So he closed his eyes, and he said, this is what I see myself. This is what I want to do. If I could do anything and I knew I wasn't going to fail, I would do this. So I said, go do it. Go do what you want to really do. Don't think about failure. Most of our times, we're trying to put the net underneath us. Say, you got the people walking the tightrope, and then the circus, and they got the net underneath. No, sometimes you got to take the net away. And you got to say, you know what? I don't want a safety net, because a safety net is going to limit me, because I'm not going to truly reach my true potential with the safety net. I have to be brave enough to take the safety net away, and if I fail, I fail. If I fall, I fall. It's like, you see people in the planes when they're doing skydiving. Imagine if there was something underneath there on the ground that's going to stop your fall.
It wouldn't be as fun.
It wouldn't be as fun. Like, there is some risk in this.
Yeah.
Right? When you jump boat, you got to jump boat, and you just got to do it. You can't care. You can't think about, is the parachute not going to open, or is this going to happen, or whatever it is. You got to trust that you're doing the right thing, and then that it can happen.
What is the fear of failure anyway? Like, what is failure? Like, whoa.
I think it's just, to be honest, I think it's worrying about other individuals. Because if we failed by ourselves, we
not a
wouldn't
big
care.
deal. Right.
If I fail, right? Like,
That's so true, because
you're feeling in the public. That's what's really stopping you.
Yeah.
It's not the failure of yourself.
Right.
Because you'd be like, well, you know what? I'll just try again. No, you're more fearful of not looking a certain part in front of individuals. That's what your fear is. It's the fear of, that's like someone that can have a fear of speaking. They can speak, but they're fearful of speaking in front of others. It's not the fear of speaking. It's the others that they fear.
And the thoughts that they might have about them.
Yes.
So now you're thinking as like, oh, he might be thinking I'm weird, or he might be thinking I'm stupid, or...
Yeah, and I could relate, because I'm still dealing with that, bro. I'm still trying to enter that world.
Yeah.
It's not easy to do that, because I wasn't doing it forever. I just wasn't. You speak behind a camera, it's one thing, but in front of people, it's a whole new, it's a whole new vibe. So, but I'm not going to stop trying, and that's the point. It will eventually get better,
Right?
Because we all have something to say.
Yeah, because you get more comfortable.
Yes.
The more you start talking and vocalizing it, you become comfortable.
Like, if we ever did this podcast, live somewhere, and people are around and they can hear it and everything, I think I would do just fine, because I'm not alone, first of all, and we're just having a conversation. And that's what it is. Just stick to the basics in your mind.
I'm not gonna lie. When someone else is watching us live, it's a little different for me. You know what I mean? I don't even know how Jay, like, I was up in Jay's face with the camera earlier. I'm like, yo, this is crazy.
Oh, I was looking outside. He didn't give a fuck.
No, anything is possible.
Yeah, man.
What I learned is to just attack. Right? While you're attacking, you're not thinking about playing defense. You're not worrying. You're not scared. Right? Because guess what? You're listening. And you want to hear what I got to say.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make sure that I vocalize it to anybody. So when you're locked in, same thing if I was playing a game. If I was playing a game, I was coaching, I don't see the crowd. I don't see the fans. I don't see the camera. I just see me doing what I have to do. Right? And then once you start feeling that way, it doesn't matter if there's 1 million people there. It doesn't really matter.
It's like autopilot.
He sounds like Kobe Bryant, man. I swear I just seen this clip of him, and Kobe was like, they're like, what if Rihanna or was on the sidelines? He's like, so? Like,
It doesn't matter.
it's about the game. You know what I mean? It's not about them. It's about what I'm here to do.
When you're in the moment, you don't see anything. It's tunnel vision. You know, playing a sport's the same thing. You got big crowds and they're booing you and they're hoping you miss. So this is actually supportive. This is actually easier because they want you to win. When you're playing basketball or you're playing a sport, you actually got people cheering against you. So there's a big difference.
But we were talking about that earlier in our conversation of how that's necessary,
Yes.
right? Because if everyone's just cheering for you and everything's just one way, then you don't have the polarity. You don't have the
Yes.
drive to go that way. It's almost like people telling me I can't do something is actually helping me do it. You know, because you're challenging my belief system.
If it's channeled in the right way,
Right.
then it can actually propel you.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, you can't do it. Someone with not a lot of confidence will say, yeah, I can't do it. Somebody with supreme confidence will be like, okay, I'll show you. You'll see. You'll see what I can do. So it's you got to look at it as when you got an opposition, that's actually the fun part.
Yes, it is.
That's the challenge. When someone says you can't, that's when it's like, okay, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you. It's fun like that. But when everybody else is saying you can, and then you do it, it's not that fun.
Right. Right.
That's why a lot of players, if you know, and I'm talking a lot of basketball stuff, and that's why a lot of players, they're more deadly on the road than they're at home, because they actually like the crowd talking, right? They like the crowd going against them, and they like shutting the crowd up.
They welcome it.
They welcome it. So anytime you have a challenge, if you actually start embracing it and welcoming it, you'll actually be smiling when the challenge is there.
Yeah.
You're having fun with it. It's no big deal.
You know, like, it's crazy because we have these thoughts in our mind that tell us, oh, you can't do this, or, you know, like, or double check yourself, guess yourself. But then the same thoughts that we have inside our minds is the same thoughts people portray to us when we go on the away game. You know, it's the same shit,
Exactly.
right? But when you have a hard workout, that shit feels great. That shit feels amazing because you actually did something.
For
You
sure.
actually bust through that resistance and you push through that to that last rep. You know what
Yeah,
I
and
mean?
you also confirm to yourself that a lot of those thoughts were nothing but conspiracy theories.
Right. So it really doesn't exist, man.
No,
Failure is just a concept.
at the same
And
time,
the thing is, a lot of times we talk about pressure. But what is pressure?
I don't know.
Self-imposed.
it's self-imposed. Yep.
So if you're challenging yourself and you feel, I feel pressure, well, that's a good pressure because you actually are self-imposing the pressure.
It means you care too.
That means you care. There should be some level of pressure in your life every day. Now, we don't talk about extreme pressure, but we still want to have some pressure to perform.
Yeah.
Like, I want to wake up and I want to perform better than I did yesterday. I don't want to perform less, so I put the pressure on myself to say, okay, I'm going to get better today. You know, that's pressure, and I look forward to that. It's like Steven Jackson. He always says, you got to make love to pressure, right? You got to embrace
Sweet,
it.
sweet love.
You got to right? You got to put the slow song
You
on.
got, you got Marvin Gaye that
Right?
shit.
You gotta put the slow jams on, and you gotta go with the pressure. You can't go against it. So it's just like the water back here, right?
Yeah.
You want to go with the waves,
Oh, okay. You gonna tell us now?
not against them.
Was it inside
Can't even
joke?
get him ankle deep, and he's gonna tell us that.
I know one thing,
That's why you sit on the edge of the water, not in the water.
right? I didn't view the water, right? I view it,
Or I use it as a backdrop.
right?
Oh,
That's
man.
all. I didn't say I gotta get in
This
it.
man said he views it. I can't even get him to stand ankle deep. Believe in your motherfucking self.
Would you go on a boat?
Yeah, I would go on a boat,
Oh, okay.
but I would
Of
definitely
life,
have.
life vest?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
On board or wearing it?
I'm bored.
I think if you're wearing it, you're welcoming the drowning.
No, yeah, right. I'm bored, like within arm's length, right? Right, I can quickly put it on.
Right.
To gain that confidence, right? You said that people don't have confidence, right? That's why they don't have the ability to bust through that resistance and actually go after their dream or go after what actually scares them, right? how would you say is like a good way to gain that confidence? Like what would you guys say to gain that confidence to actually take that step?
Well, not to repeat myself from that 2 podcasts ago, but taking a self-cation, it's all on you, you know. And the idea is just to get to know you in different various situations, good and bad, tough and easy. Are you going to make the right decisions with your food on your own? Are you going to make the right decisions with your, you know, your money, your planning skills? And planning is important because you're planning your day, and you could screw up and make the wrong plan, and it ruins your day. So, I mean, it comes down to just being able to be confident in your decisions, stand your ground, and just go through with the plan, and hopefully it unfolds the way you want it to. But instead of saying hopefully, it does.
Yeah.
You know, you make sure of that. Bottom line, I went up there, I had a great trip, and it was fantastic.
It has to be a great trip. We
I
still
avoided
talking about
drinking,
it.
which was, you know, I thought maybe I'm on vacation. My
Yeah.
mind might just, you know, well, go ahead, man. You never drink anymore. And I didn't. And it was nice. So
Yeah.
I think the worst thing I did was have some ribs. You know, I shouldn't have did that, but I did it. But it was circumstantial.
Yeah. I'm saying, as far as when I think about gaining confidence, I think about doing things that you never did before,
Mhm.
and being very bad at it, because usually you are going to be bad at it, and then showing that you can get better at it.
Absolutely.
Because as you get better at that, you realize that everything that you start in life, you will be bad. But you know, with persistence, dedication, consistency,
Mm.
that you will get better.
That's the word.
Yes, sir.
Consistency. That really is the word.
So that's the big thing about confidence. A lot of times with confidence, because people lack the confidence because they don't know who or what they would do underneath a situation.
Who they are.
They don't know.
Right.
So if this something does occur bad,
Mm.
I don't know how I'm going to react.
Oh, that's
And
great.
when you know how to react and you know who you are because you've been battle tested,
Mm.
the confidence grows.
Mm.
Because you're like, you know what, even though if it's a bad situation, I faced something like this before. It was hard, but I was able to overcome it. I was able to learn from it, and I was able to get better. So now I embrace challenges because challenges make me better.
You know, I think a lot of people they focus too much on the uncomfortability of whatever that challenge is, and that's when they abort. They don't want that uncomfortableness. But what they fail to remember is the way they felt after they went through that uncomfortableness and completed the assignment, and then they walked away feeling a little bit better about it. But they'll dismiss it the next time because they didn't put those hours in. Remember, we got to put 10,000 hours to master anything. So if you're just avoiding the one thing that you know made you happy when you were done, but you were uncomfortable, so that you're allowing the uncomfortability outweigh the value of what you could have got.
For
So
sure.
I think that's
because you got to learn to be uncomfortable. You got to learn to embrace that as well.
yes.
It's fine to be uncomfortable. You want to be uncomfortable. Every day I try to make myself in some way uncomfortable. Do something that I didn't really do before, because I know I have to be uncomfortable to learn. I have to be uncomfortable to reach my full potential. If I stay within my comfort zone, how can I grow? Imagine if the snake never shed his skin,
Mm-mm.
right? Imagine that. Imagine if the butterfly just stayed as a caterpillar.
Mm-hmm.
He had to get uncomfortable,
Mm.
right? You have to break through. And breaking through is doing something that you probably didn't do before. Or we could speak about the bird, right? The bird had to be uncomfortable when he was in his nest.
The
And they
eagles,
had to kick it out.
Yep.
He had to kick it out the nest so then he could fly.
Yeah.
So it's always being uncomfortable is a sign that you're going down the right road,
I love
Absolutely.
it. I
right?
love it.
And all you got to do is get past that obstacle, because now you got your whole world in front of you.
Right.
If you think about it, your whole life was built on that. You know, first time you rode a bike, it was, you know, it sucked, but you got it eventually because you kept trying, and you had to figure out the laws of balance and all that stuff.
For sure.
And that's what it is. You're just trying to figure out the aspects of the situation.
You look at this. When you were born, it was uncomfortable.
Right.
Everybody, right? It was uncomfortable for the mother. because she had to have you. She had to deliver you. So there was never, ever a level of comfort, right? She had to be uncomfortable for you to be here. So why now that we're here, we're trying to be comfortable?
So life itself is uncomfortable.
No,
Life
it is.
itself is uncomfortable.
Otherwise, there's no growth.
There is none.
I had a guy message me today, and he asked me, "Oh, what made you take videography more serious now?" or something like this. I thought it was a dumb question because I was like, appreciation? Like I was like, man, if there's no growth, then there's no life. If I'm not pushing myself, then I'm stagnant. I'm dying, right? You need that, and you're absolutely right about the mother, Jay. But you're also, even the baby came out crying. Either you came out crying. You came out to a new world. Like, what the hell is this place? Like, where the hell am I? You know? And then you find your way to, you know, you try to crawl, then you try to walk, and you fall down 100 times, 1,000 times, but you do it anyway.
And that's why a baby learns the quickest.
Yes.
Because he doesn't mind uncomfortable.
And he don't have nothing to
knows
compare it to.
uncomfortable.
He have nothing to compare it to.
Nothing. He can't sit there and say no. He can't make up excuses because he doesn't know what excuse is.
He doesn't even know what you're saying.
Exactly. So he doesn't know any of that, right?
Right.
And as we get older, what do we learn? We start learning about excuses because someone else made one.
Man,
You just brought up a good
weakness.
point, Jay. So baby doesn't have a conscience. So when it fails, it doesn't know it failed.
Right.
And it reacts accordingly, which is, you know, pretty good. They just try again. That's all they know. But when we have a conscience, it's us that, like, it's our conscience that fails us. And then we fail. It's like it's all connected, man. When you fail, it's because your conscience was failing you.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so we have some people that will, we were talking about it earlier, that will settle, right? Like, you know, or they're not looking as far. So they might take the job, you know, they might take the 9 to 5, and they might not even be passionate about it, but it's paying them, it's giving them security. And, you know, that's all they want. You know, they want to go out on the weekend, and that's all they see. And other people actually reach for their dream, and they might be failing, they might be actually hurting for money. They might, you know, go up against the mountain, right? But it's rewarding for them, right? Why do some people settle? And do you guys believe that's necessary for them to settle so we can have people that actually, you know, go for their dreams? You know what I mean? Because you need everybody, to be honest. You need the person that's going for the dream, and you need the person that's going to be working for them in a way.
And I don't think just because, you know, if you're working for someone, it doesn't mean that you're settling if you like the job. Do things that you like. Some people literally like cleaning.
Yes.
They do.
They're good at it.
And they're good at it. That's what your thing is. Some people like painting, and they're actually really good at it. So it's like, just do the things that you enjoy. Don't do the things that you think about, oh, well, you know what, money-wise. No, do the things that you enjoy. Wake up and be like, man, I can't wait to go to work. Wake up, I can't wait to create. Wake up, I can't wait to do whatever I'm doing. That's a beautiful feeling when you can't wait to do something because you know you're adding something to the world. And I believe that everybody can add something to the world, whether it's cleaning. You could be cleaning something else. You could be painting. You
Teaching.
could be teaching. You could be a hairstylist. You could be a creator. You could do.
You can mow lawn. You could do whatever.
Yeah, you could do whatever. So
Podcast.
yes. So I don't want people to think that they got to do something crazy
Yeah.
to add to the world.
It's pre-built in a way. You know what I mean? Like, how did I end up choosing videography, or you end up choosing speaking, or you end up choosing chicken, or you end up choosing music, you know? And somebody else end up choosing cutting the grass, or end up choosing landscaping, end up choosing painting. It's something already in us that's kind of guiding us. It's like a beacon towards our path. And we were talking about systems earlier, and God made one hell of a system. We have people of all walks of life that all want to do different things inherently. The more they follow their dreams and aspirations, the more collective we all work as a species, and we have a better environment. We have more growth, and we reach higher heights.
For sure. We
Right?
need it. It's actually necessary because we need it, because imagine if everybody was a doctor. Well, there's be a lot of holes. There wouldn't be no lawyers. There wouldn't be no garbage man. There wouldn't be no teachers. There wouldn't be. right? So we can't think that one thing is more important than the other. They're all important. They're all a part of the system.
Yeah.
And we got to be to use them all because and value everybody's opinion and everybody's occupation. Because the occupation doesn't matter to me, to be honest. It's how you do it. I've seen some doctors that were crappy. I've seen some doctors that were great. I've seen some garbage men that were crappy. And I've seen some garbage men that took their job seriously. So I think whatever you're doing, whether big or small, treat it like it's really meant for you to do. Treat it like, okay, you know what? By me doing this, I'm going to impact the world.
Mhm.
Well, you're only doing garbage. I'm going to impact the world doing garbage.
Mm.
I'm going to impact the world cutting hair. I'm going to impact the world cooking this meal because I'm going to show so much love into the meal that this person's going to eat the food and now he's going to go out there and do something great because
Yeah.
he's now inspired by how you treated him.
Oh man.
So everything's about inspiration
And intention.
and intention.
Right.
When you leave the house, you got to know what your mission is.
Yeah.
Don't leave your house and not know what your intention is.
I got two things to say.
That's so funny because I was about to say two things too. Let's go.
So
Anything is possible.
when I make my wings
Yeah.
for a person,
Yeah.
I'm coming from a place like, how can I make this so that they remember me? That is a totally different thing than just, oh, I'm just going to lollygag and cook and
Yes.
here you go. And that's
Yes.
it. Whatever you get is what you get. No, I literally put my time and effort, my love into it. And the other thing I wanted to say, because you touched on something about being challenged and stuff like that. And that got me thinking about environment. Let's look at the Australia, the state of Florida. The environment challenges them. They have a snake problem, a gator problem. Animals can kill you. Insects can kill you. They're always being threatened. And we're talking about in your homes. It doesn't matter. You're never safe. So they're on high guard, high alert all the time. They're being challenged by their environment. They're all hard. There's no soft people in those areas. They all know what to do. They all know how to act. They don't freak out. Like, they just know how to handle business. And that's their life. That's what they grew up in. So when your environment is creating adversity for you from jump, and you live through that all the way up to adulthood, you're going to handle most things in life in one way, apart from a city person that has never been challenged by their environment. And another thing, we have a responsibility when our environment's not challenging us enough, we have to then challenge ourselves in that place.
Yeah, because one guy he spoke about, he said, you have a hard life, so that means you got to be harder,
Right.
right? So whatever it is there, yeah, it is hard, but now I need to be even more. You brought out more out of me because it's required.
Right. It's almost like a sick mental game you got to play. Like I did have a hard life, but now I want to beat the hardness of my life.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful
It is.
thing.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful thing, man. Like if I didn't go through what I went through, I wouldn't have the balls, or I wouldn't even have the grit. I wouldn't even have the belief that I'm gonna do something amazing. You know, half the time we're talking, when me and Jay be talking, or even us talking, it's like we could do anything, you know?
Yeah.
And I know that came from the hardship. I know that came from the trenches. Like, I know that came from, like, the days when you felt like ass, when you felt like, the whole world's weighing on you, when you felt like you couldn't believe in yourself. I've had those days. And those days sucked. They really did. But that's why now that I have the opportunity and I just got to say, man, this whole view looked crazy.
The view I'm seeing right here is beautiful.
I was seeing a rabbit and shit. Like, I'm like, wow. Like, we've definitely come far, definitely come far. Even how Jay was telling me earlier, he's like, he's like, yeah, I got the code. You know what I mean? We're just gonna go in the back. Like, I'm saying, all right, shit.
See, we got an abundance of locations right now.
It's abundance everywhere.
No, but I'm saying when you truly believe that anything's possible, you're gonna start seeing things line up for you.
Mm.
I definitely believe that anything truly is possible with the work, with the right intention, with the consistency, with your habits. You can get anything you want, and it may take long, or it may take short, but you just know you're gonna get there.
Yeah.
So it's like now, people started seeing us. We started from Facebook,
Yep.
but we maximized it. We went 30 straight days and we maximized it and we improved. And then we moved to another location and we worked there and we got better there. And now we're moving to other location. So in life, man, there's steps, man.
Growth.
You know, you want to get to the top floor, you're gonna have to walk them steps to get up there. There is no quick elevator. There's no just, hit the button. I'm at the top of, I'm on the 22nd floor. No, you have to take them steps, walk each floor, and learn as you go. If I'm going to the 24th floor, I want to learn something on the first, second, third, all the way up to the 24th floor. So then once I get to the 24th floor, I'm prepared for whatever that comes my way.
The elevator ride up is real easy. You know what I mean? Real easy. What if the elevator stopped working? Now your fat ass
Still
can't
feeling
do nothing.
elevated.
Now you got to walk 24 steps and you can't do it.
That's if you can get out the elevator.
I seen one guy, and there was this basketball player, right? And up until this point, he wasn't ranked. So he was a high school player. So he wasn't ranked. After the summer, he was ranked the #1 point guard in the country. And one of my friends actually, Rashad, one of my friends is actually basically his uncle. And they talk about he took the stairs, not the elevator. So that means he's more prepared.
Is this a player that's already played or a player that's about to play?
It's a player that's in high school right now.
Beautiful.
So he's in going into 11th grade. But when you take the stairs, you may not get there as quickly as everybody else is. But when you get there, you're more prepared.
Way more prepared.
So that's why you want to take them steps. You don't want to miss them steps because it ain't about getting to the destination. It's gathering everything leading up into the destination so you have all the tools accessible.
To this day, when I go upstairs, I skip a step. And somebody asked me, why the hell are you always skipping steps? It's because I don't want to miss those games. I don't want to miss them.
What do you mean? What do you mean skip the step? Like you do 2 steps?
Yeah, like I'll put my leg on the neck, like skip a step.
Right.
That way it's like a squat almost. But
Yeah.
For sure, like a lunge.
Yeah.
I just see an opportunity when I see steps. That's just kind of,
Yeah.
I develop
You're hungry for it.
Yeah, I guess, but I do it subconsciously now.
Yeah.
Because when you just walk around and you look at every opportunity,
Yeah.
right? You're like, okay, if I want to train, where do I train? What could I use to train in here?
Right.
I could use maybe this grass. We're gonna do a couple things here, right? You're always looking. So when you're always looking, you just start finding things. You go to the gym, you're like, man, I didn't know that was there. Because your eyes are finally open. You're
Yep.
starting to actually see what's going on. You're like, okay,
Damn.
you know what? Yeah, these stairs, they're not just for walking up them. I can use them to train. So
Yep.
that's an opportunity.
Yeah.
You can look at the cold and say, you know what? Oh, man, it's so cold out. But that's an opportunity to get some mental toughness. Oh, it's hot. Well, that's an opportunity to gain some mental toughness, too, to deal with the heat.
Yes.
Everything is an opportunity. And when you look at that, the world is almost like Disneyland.
Right.
It is. Because you're starting to see things that you can use. You're like, well, okay, that tree. What can I do with that tree? What can I do
Beautiful.
with that porch? What can I do with that grass? What can I do with that water?
Right.
What can I do to be excellent? Because it's all around us.
One thing that I was thinking, okay, why aren't people looking at the tree? You could have someone here just zoned out, just like, and not even notice anything because he's so in his head, because something's on his mind, or something's really captivating his attention, right? And I feel a lot of the world has that issue,
Yeah.
right? They're not taking in everything because something's already on their mind, maybe a past event, or maybe a situation, maybe some thoughts. Obviously, food don't help, right? The food that we eat, if we eat shitty food, that's not helping. If you're not exercising, that's not helping. I guess that kind of takes me into the next point, which was like breaking out of your routine and doing something new, right? And you guys were mentioning that. Once you do new things, you are forced to think different ways, which forces you out of the negative mindset that had you stuck in the first place, right? So continue doing new things. And another point would be stay true to yourself, right? Like what you're not them and they're not you, and the essence that God put into you, like that's just for you. Like, those instructions are just for you. So start to learn yourself, trust yourself. You might think you want to do that, but if your heart's telling you to make music, or it's heart telling you to do the podcast, or heart's telling you to write that book, then follow your heart, and it will bring you joy. It's like everything almost is the same in a weird way. Like everything's gonna be hard, and there's beauty in everything. Like sometimes I'm thinking like, okay, if I'm a videographer and I spend 20 years doing videography, for example, then I might miss out on this. That's not true technically, but in a partly, like you might see different. Like as a cook, you might experience different experiences than I experienced.
Right.
But
Actually, I will.
Yeah, but the end of the day, I do feel that our emotions, like the ups and downs, and actually fighting through that resistance, that's the same.
I want to give, I have two things I thought about, two things that I live by. And people can take them if they want. And the first thing is, wake up and be thankful for waking up. Really be thankful for that. List everything that you're thankful of when you first wake up, because it's going to force you to look at things better. Thankful for waking up, thankful for my eyes, being able to see, thankful for me being able to hear, thankful for me to have a roof over my head, thankful for the food that's in my refrigerator, thankful for the opportunity just to have another day.
Thankful for the people.
Thankful for the people. So you just go on and you list everything you're thankful for, and then you're going to forget the things that is troubling you.
Beautiful.
The second thing is, create a problem, the biggest problem. It's going to force you to be solution oriented.
Create it or find it?
Create it.
Okay.
If there's a problem, think of it. Oh, man, this is so bad. Okay, what should I do? How can I resolve that problem? I see this going on in the world and I acknowledge it. But what can I do? Spend your time thinking about problem solving. Spend your time thinking about solutions. Now you're like, okay, I'm thankful that I have all these things. Okay, that's great. Now, you know what? There's a huge problem going on. And I'm going to embrace that problem. And I'm going to try to be the one that finds a solution for that issue. It takes you away from complaining. When you complain, it's telling you that you don't have a solution. That it's easier just to say what you don't have compared to figuring out how to get it. So when I tell both people, I said, I think life is limitless. I think you can get anything, but it's going to force you to be something different. It's going to force you to think outside the box. It's going to force you to be solution oriented. It's going to force you not to complain, but to do.
And we were talking earlier about being grateful for what we have. And sometimes we ask for more, but we're not even grateful for the things we do have. I want this abundance, but I'm not taking care of my pool right now. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, take care of the gifts that God has already given you. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of them. If we open our eyes and we actually give it a hard look, man, just waking up is a blessing. Walking around is a blessing. Being able to see, being able to hear. And then on top of that, we get to grow. Like on top of that, I get to see us go from here to here to here to here, and actually, experience the joy that you might have, experience the joy that other people might have. It's a beautiful life, man.
You were talking about like life rules that you live by, and that's like a lens. And as long as you look through that lens, it controls how you think, how you behave, how you react to situations, and how you kick ass. Right? Mine are every day I have to do something for myself at least once. Just something. Doesn't matter what it is. Whether it's, shave or go buy myself a new shirt. I don't care. Go for a walk, whatever. I got to be pouring something into my cup every single day. The other thing is, whatever I do, it cannot be something that I will one day live to regret. Okay, so everything's got to be something that you'll think back when you're like 60, 70 years old. Be like, I'm glad I didn't waste my time with that. That was a good thing I was doing. And the other thing is just looking at yourself. You cannot regret anything. Like, I just said that. I'm sorry. I kind of lost my track of what I was going to say. The other thing, but
I know the view is nice. I know.
Yeah, the view is got that sun just disappearing off the water, and I can swim. So I'm just thinking, like, man, I want to get out there.
We might put you in there, Drew. Don't say that.
No, I can't dive here, bro. I'll die.
We can walk you in, cuz.
Trust me, I don't need nobody to help. Anything is possible.
Oh, man.
Yeah, bro.
No, it's just excitement of life, right? So it's like when you think about
Oh, my bad. Everything's got to be proud work that I do.
Proud
see,
work.
there you
Proud
there
work.
you go, right? Because as you know when you're doing proud work, and you want people to see it, and you want people to acknowledge it, that's a great feeling when someone says, you know what you've been doing with the community has been excellent. What you've been doing with this been impactful. So I'm gonna add to my list, right? Add two. I gotta
We
put
can
it-
always
I
add.
could right? We can always add and not subtract,
Yep.
right? So compliment somebody every day,
That's a beautiful thing.
right? See somebody and just really give them a compliment and say, you know what, I really see what you're doing, and watch how it's going to change your life.
Beautiful.
Watch how. Imagine this. 365 days, right? I'm going to challenge you guys right here. 365 days. That means you can compliment 365 people. Watch how those seeds grow.
Okay, so the challenge is compliment someone every day.
Every day, at least one,
I already do that for like 286 of those days. So.
right? So we need 365.
Okay, we'll be all right.
All right? And then if you did it 365, and you did one each day for 365, do two,
Right.
Cool.
right? Because there's always levels. There's always
Yes.
progressing, right?
Right.
Seeing, because what that's going to do is force you to not always think you're the main person in the world. It's going to make you think about others, not about you. Right? Reason why we get in our heads because we just care about what we're doing.
Right. We think we're that important.
We think we're that important, but when you start seeing the others of what they're doing, acknowledging them and saying, you know what, man, I love what you're doing right now. Watch how that is a domino effect. It's the same thing when someone goes to, say, Tim Hortons or a fast food restaurant or whatever they go to, and they pay for someone behind them. That carries on. So then that person pays for the next person behind, and that person pays for the next person behind. That's what we will have to do. If we want to change anything, we first got to change the way we think, that we view the world. And then as we start changing that, we say, okay, what can I do that involves no money, but can help somebody? Because sometimes helping somebody is free. It's just a thought. And if you can do that on a daily basis, you keep planting those seeds, you're going to start seeing people acknowledging you. Because we always want the acknowledgement, but we don't want to acknowledge anybody else. We don't want to say, you did a great job. We always want the pat on our back. So just imagine how you feel when you get complimented. And why are you not doing that to somebody else?
Absolutely. Anybody tells me anything I'm doing, it's a lasting effect. I might be 2 or 3 days and I'm still thinking about what they said.
Yeah.
And I don't need it. I'm already self-motivated, but it's just nice to hear. And I think you were talking earlier about people kind of being closed-minded and not seeing the tree and not seeing the beauty in the world. I think when you do those things and you compliment somebody, you took them out of that closed-mindedness for that moment, and now they see that there's more. It's like a door open in their mind, and now they can see. Okay, I was limiting. Like there's more. Oh my God, someone noticed what I've been doing. I've been kicking my own ass, thinking I'm wasting my time, and now you just brought everything. Now I just want to keep going, and that's the beauty of what we can do with our words. We have the power. Our lips can change lives.
You know, I read a great story. Well, I was showing you the rice thing, right? The intention. You take 2 jars of rice, and on one you tape and you write, I hate you. On the other you tape and write, I love you. After 6 months, the one that you wrote, I hate you, will be brown. It will have gone bad. And the one that you just let
Is this science?
this is look this up.
I'm gonna do this.
Do it. Do it, film it, post it. It's real. I truly believe in this. Like, I believe in it too, though. Like, it's not that. And we're talking about it. We're talking about compliments.
Our fans out there grabbing bags of rice right now.
Oh, I said, I'm going to do the same thing.
Yeah,
man.
no.
No, I'm going to do the same thing.
Literally just the tape they did, and not even talk to it, but they just put the intention, right? And the intention is a big motivator. This is very real, you know. I had a question for both of you guys, was how to help people out there, or even us, to gain a more of an abundance outlook on life, right? And Jay, you mentioned being thankful, which was something I had written down here too, right? Be grateful. You mentioned compliments, right? That's a beautiful thing we can do, because everyone we see is actually us, right? You're actually part of me, right? Just like how I have little thoughts in my mind, I got people in real life that reflect back to me who I am. So the better I treat you, the better you treat me, and you know, the better this thing goes. And then we also mentioned reps, you know, put the work in, right? And make sure you do it consistently. You do more and more work, you gain more and more confidence, and you know, that gives you a better abundance outlook on life, right? Did you guys have any other additions to?
If you think about it, that's why they speak about the company you keep, because the company you keep is a reflection of you. So you want to make sure that the company you're keeping is a person that you would be like, I would be proud to actually be like him. Right? That's when you know you got the right company. You know what? I like what he's doing. I like his morals. He motivates me. So you know you're in the right company. So now your job is to do the same thing for him.
Right.
Beautiful.
Right? So it's like, you know what?
Two-way street.
It's a two-way street. So the way you motivate me is the same way I want to provide that motivation back to you. So you're not thinking about yourself no more. We think too much about ourselves. We don't think about others. So as you start thinking about others, you're actually going to be the person you're destined to be. You will be. You know what I mean? So I really believe in think about others, do good things for others. Obviously, when you do, you know, obviously if you're doing good thing for others, that tells me a lot how you think about yourself. Some people can't say do anything good for anybody. They can't compliment anybody. So you know, you could already tell what the character they are.
Yeah.
Like they're not all the way there. We know that. So I said, if you're able to wake up, show gratitude, think about a problem, but think about a solution. Compliment others. Compliment others of what they're doing. Like Drew said, pour in your own cup. Do something that you love to do, whether it's taking a walk, whether it's going to the gym, learning something new, right? Something that excites you. Laugh daily. Don't take yourself so serious. Like, yeah, life is serious, but life is to be enjoyed.
Amen.
We got to enjoy life. So when we're doing a podcast, we're enjoying it. You know, you're taking it all in. And then the last thing is, I always tell people, set your intentions for the next day at night. So when you go to bed at night, think of good thoughts. Don't put on something on the TV screen that's bad. Don't think about the news. Don't watch something on YouTube that's going to disturb your thoughts. Think about nothing but pure, genuine, great thoughts. And once you think about those thoughts, now your subconscious, when you're asleep, is going to now register them and work on them. So you're setting yourself up daily. So it's laughing, sharing, having enjoyment, being appreciative, doing all those things. And now you're going to start seeing everything that's good in life. You're going to see the birds and you're like, wow, those are some beautiful birds. You're going to see the trees and you're going to say, that's beautiful. You know, I went for a beautiful walk. It wasn't stressful. It wasn't a lot. It was like, man, I just went for a nice walk, man, and I enjoyed it. You know, I had a great conversation today. You know, you could talk to some individuals and they'll be like, you know, how was your day? And it's always, it was okay. Why?
Very generic responses.
Right? It's like they're programmed to say, okay, it was all right. So what would make it better? Well, if I did that, well, then why didn't you? Whatever that you felt that would make it better, why are you not doing that?
Right.
Because we're sick of having all right days. And I don't even like saying that no more. It was okay. It was all right. It was because I determined my day. If it was all right and okay, it's because that's what I did.
You perceived it that way.
Exactly.
Some things could happen throughout the day that, you know, I usually I'm always like, it's great. Every now and then when something kind of wild happens in the day that I haven't processed, you might get that, it was all right. You know what I mean? And then it's like, what happened? All right, this is what happened. You mean, and then you work through it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Another thing I wanted to mention, this is one of the last points I had on abundance, but the importance of being relaxed, right? You just said, you know, don't take yourself so seriously. Because if we start to stress and like start to panic, you're not going to get the best performance. You know what I mean? But if you actually just, settle down, you're in the moment, you let things come to you, everything flows 10 times better. You know? Don't ever take anything as it's the end of the world. Nothing is the end of the world. Even if you have that conversation with a loved one, or something wrong happens at work, or maybe someone passes, it doesn't matter. Nothing is the end of the world. Another day will come, right? It does come. Mostly all the time it comes, knock on wood, it keeps coming, you know what I mean? But we just appreciate and know that another day is coming around the corner, just like every day the sun goes down and the sun comes up, and it will pass, right? I know, Drew, you mentioned that. You mentioned, this too shall
Everything
pass.
comes to pass.
Everything comes to pass, and it's a true statement, right? And I've definitely in my past, a lot of the times, and sometimes still do, take something too seriously. Like an event happened or a conversation happened, and I took it to heart, right? But the best I perform, and the best I see even our podcast performing, is when everything is just
For
calm
sure.
as the water behind you.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
What was the question I wanted to add to this?
It wasn't more of a question. I wanted to talk about the relationship of abundance with being relaxed. Yeah,
With being relaxed.
yeah. Because I feel like it's an important one.
I think for me, I would say, obviously you guys mentioned being thankful, being grateful. I would mention being in reality because, for example, people that live in North America feel entitled. They can go to the grocery store, grab food, they can flip the tap, they got water, and they're sitting there and they're stressing about something like a bill, rent, whatever. And then there's someone in another country that is just trying to get 1 grain of salt or whatever so they could survive. And they don't have a bathroom, they don't have clothes. And that gives you, see, in that case, we talked about comparison is a thief of joy. In this case, comparison can actually give you perspective. It can also set your mind, like kind of realign you. Okay, I need to take a minute here. I'm being too ungrateful. And you see that, you see what those people are going through, and now you're like, okay, I'm being a bitch. I need to stop. And so, like I said, reality. I think reality is a great way to give you the perspective that you need to be able to grow the right way and get the and realize the abundance that you actually have. Because it's there. You just don't want to see it.
Right. Guys, that was our 10th episode, number X, and we're on a lake, and next week we'll be on a beach. And I actually wanted to talk about something, and I want to propose it, but more so tell you guys, for this week, we're going to watch Hoop Dreams. All right, on our own time, we can watch it together. It doesn't matter. Jake, could you talk a little bit about Hoop Dreams and what you loved about the movie? As I was researching a little bit on the way here, I saw great reviews. I saw, it was a true story, a real story.
Is this the new one?
No, it's an older one.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's an older one, but it was 3 different scenarios.
Yeah, so Hoop Dreams, it's documentary type style. They've took 2 high school kids that played sports. I think they started following in grade 8. And then you've seen their journey. You've seen them go from high school, enroll in high school. And these 2 kids happen to go to the same school, and they came from the same neighborhood, but they were treated differently.
Wow.
And you've seen one kid who was destined to be an NBA player, and you had another kid who had an NBA dream. And then you've seen the one kid who was supposed to be an NBA player get injured and hurt. And then you've seen him deal with the obstacles.
Right.
And it turned his world upside down. And then you had the other individual who was struggling financially, and they didn't believe he can do anything. He had to eventually leave that same school, and then they followed him at another school. And you get to see a great insight of how life is crazy, man. Different dynamics. You had, one of the kids, his father was, he got hooked on drugs, and then they didn't have any money, and and then you seen the other one, dealing with the injury, and now his hopes and his dreams are seeming like they're disappearing.
How old is this one?
It's pretty old.
Okay.
It's probably
90s.
yeah. It was,
So I've heard of that name before,
Yeah.
but I thought it was a movie.
yeah, it's probably 90s.
It's a
but
documentary,
It is
right?
a movie, documentary, whatever
Okay.
it is.
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah.
But it's true life. It's raw. You know, it's following someone's journey, and it to me it's incredible because you see the resilience or the lack of resilience that's there. You see the person who's doesn't matter, he's following his dreams.
Mhm.
You see the person who's kind of getting discouraged because his whole life he was good.
Mhm.
His whole life he was anointed to be
The
this
man.
player.
Right.
So now we're talking about pressure. We're talking about all these factors,
All the emotions.
all these emotions
Mm.
that you can get from a film.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a great film.
And we will discuss it next week on episode number 11.
It's the first time I got homework on this bitch.
Yeah, we got homework, and we're gonna spice it up. You know what I mean? We're gonna spice it up. Maybe walking and talking. Well, we don't know, right? You know, you never know what's coming to Thrive Talks. We're always trying to push the envelope, experiment, try some new things, and see what we come up with. But that's another episode. Peace. Love you guys.
Love.
Love y'all.
Peace.